What's going on, YouTube? Today I got a mid drop fade and how I get it done. Let's get into it. Starting off this haircut, I'm gonna saturate his hair, just get it prepped and ready so that way I could go ahead and section it for some scissor work. The first section I always work on first when it comes to scissor work is the middle section. That kind of just lays out my foundation of how much I want to cut off. And all I'm doing is, combing it to the top and marking where my inch is and just cutting that off. And as I comb it backwards, I'm just making sure all the length matches with the hairs that I have already cut. For the side panel, I'm just kind of combing the side section along with a partial part of the middle section, and I'm just matching those hairs to that middle section that I had previously cut. Now I won't lie to y'all, my scissor work isn't where I want it to be. I can still work on it, but it's just to where it needs to be, just to make sure that the cut still comes out good. After my scissor work is done with, I'm gonna go ahead and go back over it with a blow dryer, just laying the hairs down in the direction I want them to lay. Starting off the fade, I'm gonna be starting the bald line at the bottom of his eyebrow, and I'll be using that as a reference point. So once I get to the other side, I can make sure it matches up on the other side as well. And I'm gonna be curving the bald line like right above his ear, and slowly start to drop it towards the back. And as I start to drop it, I'll use my thumb as like a bumper to make sure I don't take the bald line any higher than I need to. And I'm gonna start my debulking with my number 4 guard. I usually use a 2, but since my client's hair is a little bit lighter, I'm gonna use a 4. 2 guard would look like a 1 on his hair texture, so I'm just being a little more cautious. And I'm just sliding the guard or the clipper right off the side of his head, trying to build a shape on there. And to help me see my guidelines a little bit better, I usually go back in with a 1.5, and I'll just probably go up about 1.5 inches, clearing it up as much as I can so that way I can see my guidelines a little bit better. Now I'm coming back in with my 2 guard open, just to connect that 1.5 panel to the 4 guard at the top. And to set up my first guideline, I'm going to be going in with my lever completely open, about a finger's width up. And as I'm going up, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna keep the same shape that I had when I set in my bald line. setting in my second guideline. I'm going in with my number 1 guard, lever open. And I'm also going up about a finger's width as well on that one. And same thing as your first guideline, you're going to be following the same shape. Make sure you're consistent with your strokes. And then as you're going up on these, you just want to make sure that you're flicking out. You know, it's a crucial part of fading, just making sure you got that flick out to the top. And then I'm going to be setting in my last guideline now with my number 2 guard all the way open. And since we already prepped the hair with the debulking and then the 1.5, this 2 guard is just pretty much just to make sure that the hair length is where I need it to be at the top or where the parietal ridge is. So it shouldn't be too much work here, just a little bit, you know, just making sure that that length is where you need it to be at. With this step, I'm gonna just start blending down. So I'm just gonna be blending in my 1 guard into my 2 guard. So I got my 1.5 on, lever halfway, and I'm kind of just mostly using my corners of my blade, and I'm just flicking out as much as I can. And the reason why I'm using my corners a lot is because since this cut has a little more shape to it, I'm just making sure that I'm able to hit those corners or those curves that I set in, and keeping that shape still uniformed and tight. And a good rule of thumb is when you're flicking, you just want to make sure that you start below the line and you flick to the line. And to blend out that 0 guard lever open to that 1 guard, it's going to be the same steps as the 1.5, except I have my 0.5 on now, lever still at the halfway position, and I'm just using my corners, flicking as much as I can. And sometimes whenever you're using this guard, it won't always blend it out, so don't try to open your lever or anything and chase that line higher, because most of the times you're going to push your fade a little higher than you want it to. Instead, you'll see me come back in with my 1 guard at a 2/3 open position, and that'll help me get the rest of that line out. Now I'm coming back in with my 1 guard, a 2/3 open position, to get the rest of that line out that I was talking about with that 0.5. And same thing, corners and flick. For my last line, I'm going to be taking it out using lever play. And so basically, without any guards, I'm going to hit the line first with my lever completely closed. And I'm going to just use my corner with that lever completely closed, because you don't want to use the entire blade and then you end up taking off more than you actually want. So, just go in and be careful, lever closed. After you hit that line with your lever closed, you're going to go on top of that with your lever halfway open, and you're going to be using your corner still and flicking out. Lastly, you're going to open your blade completely open, and you're just going to flick the rest of that into the fade, and everything should blend perfectly. Detail work. This is what's going to separate your fade from other barbers' fades. So right here, I got my 0.5 guard on. Initially, I have my guard open, and I'm just looking for any dark spots within the blend, so that way I could take out. And I'm going in open at first, but if I'm hitting a spot that I see that I don't like and it's still kind of a little heavy, a little bit dark, I'm going to close my lever. I'm going to adjust it as much as I need to get it where I need it to be. And to get the main fade to blend into the top, I'm gonna just use my thinning shears, and I'm gonna just comb right underneath that parietal ridge, and I'm gonna just lighten it up a little bit with these thinning shears. And I'd rather do this than clipper over comb, because when you're doing clipper over comb, you're kind of running the risk of ruining the shape of what you already built. To tie my fade in all together, I'm gonna run through with the foil shaver, just hitting all the stubble, getting that knocked down the skin. And whenever you're running your foil shaver, you just kind of want to use light pressure, because if you press down a little too hard, you run the risk of setting in a hard line, which is a pain to take out. And you just want to make sure, the higher you go up, you're flicking, so that way, again, you're not putting in another hard line. To frame in the haircut, I'm gonna go ahead and set in my C cups. I'm gonna start at the top, and I'm just gonna make my reference point. And then once I have that reference point down where I want it, I'm gonna slightly curve it going down the side of the sideburn. And what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. And same thing, setting in my reference point, and then having that slight curve going towards going towards the bottom of the sideburn. And when it comes to the hairline, the C cups, or your vertical bars, it's really important to take your time. Don't try to rush this or anything. Take your time, step back, look at what you're doing, and attack it. And for his vertical bars, I'm using the end of his eyebrows as a reference point, so that way the other side matches as well. And I'm gonna just keep this as straight as possible. Now I'm about to come in with some texturizing powder. You guys really can't see that because mostly it's my big back in the camera. But I'm using some texturizing powder from Suavecito. The products I rock with them. They smell pretty good and I haven't had an issue with them. Now that I got that powder in there, I'm gonna just style the hair, make sure that I got the product in the hair the way I need it to. And here's how the fade came out. Brought my boy back to life. If y'all enjoyed this video, leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And if y'all want to see more, y'all can follow me on Instagram @DirtyBlends.